Thank you. Thank you all. Good morning, everybody, and what a pleasure, honor it is to be here at the Royal Geographic Society. I mean, the history of this place since 1830 is kind of it's a little bit overwhelming, really. Shackleton and now us here today. It's great to be in London because whenever I come to London, I'm reminded of the first time, really, that GeoInt, which they didn't call it back in 1854, but GeoInt was used. The Broad Street pump is one of the classic examples of geointelligence used to solve an amazing human problem. You can actually go to the site of the Broad Street pump, which is where, if you don't know, John Snow, this geographer, basically figured out that cholera was coming from a specific pump in London, and that was causing a huge problem, and he did it by plotting out the cholera deaths related to the pump. I don't do the story justice. Google it, look it up, and go visit the pump site if you're really into that thing, that kind of thing. So, yeah, as said, my name is Erik Lindquist. I'm a forestry officer with the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. We could talk briefly about the EU deforestation regulation and meeting the data needs of smallholders under the EUDR. So first off, the FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. We are a specialized agency of the UN, responsible basically for promoting food security for all people everywhere to lead active, healthy lives. We are made up of 195 member states, which is 194 countries and the European Union. And we are about 14,000 employees, give or take, worldwide working to do this. So I don't think I can present the EUDR even as well as Javier presented the EUDR this morning, but he mentioned it, and I will reinforce it that the EUDR is really this regulation that can change the way the environment is treated globally, basically, for the production of these very important commodities. And that the EU, and there are similar regulations being considered by I think the UK, by the US, by other major importers, basically saying that if we're going to import these products, we have to prove, or there must be some sort of proof that they have not contributed to environmental degradation or deforestation recently, at least. And I think that's really important. It brings the product life cycle, kind of more full circle product life cycle, and it stands a really good chance, if successful, of halting deforestation and forest degradation or land degradation in a lot of places. So, of course, when the going gets tough, what do the tough do? The tough create consortiums, and so we have created a consortium called the Forest Data Partnership, which is actually quite a functional consortium. So it's made up of ourselves, Google, WRI, World Resource Institute, Unilever, and now Carto, as Javier announced earlier this morning. So that's fantastic, and others. And basically, our charge with the Forest Data Partnership is producing or is enabling data and platforms to be that are useful for supporting the ability to participate in the EUDR or compliance with the EUDR, making them accessible by anybody, everywhere, with a particular attention placed on the smallholders, because the large companies are going to have, they can implement this sort of technology, these sort of data requirements more easily. They still have their own problems, as was talked about this morning, but also the smallholder participation is key to the EUDR success around the world. We must find a way for small producers to partake in the markets. So I put this slide in. I've since been told that must is a strong word, so it would be very, very cool if the EUDR succeeds, right? I mean, it makes sense, and it's actually got a really good chance of making things happen. But of course, as with all of these sorts of things, there's a huge perceived difficulty, or there's a lot of opportunity for people to say yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but the whole thing, like, well, yeah, wouldn't it be great, but that we don't have the data to support it, or yeah, wouldn't it be great, but we'll never be able to answer these questions that we need to for compliance. But again, I feel like I'm echoing a bit Javier's talk this morning, which I guess is good. We are prepared. We have been doing this for a long time. We have been monitoring. So we have the data, we have the platforms, we have the tools. We just and the last talk, the last inspiring presentation about it's limitless, right? Or it should be. So let's put all of our limitlessness to the test to do something good for people and the planet. So we've been monitoring deforestation for years as part of the Reducing Emissions from Deforestation and Degradation initiative. We have terabytes of data that are collected near daily, and most of it, or a lot of it anyway, available for free. We have internet access that is widespread and almost it's ubiquitous in many places around the world. And of course, the capacity to use this information is also increasing in everywhere, every place around the world. So, you know, let's do it. So everything so at FAO, we're working again with the Forest Data Partnership to produce this data and processing pipeline from producer to consumer to regulator, so that nobody's left behind, basically. And it's all done under this Sustainable Agriculture for Ecosystems project, which is part of the EU, another consortium, I guess, an EU consortium to encourage and support the role of smallholders in this process. So what we're trying to do is create a type of digital public infrastructure to support EUDR compliance. We need to access or assess deforestation risk globally everywhere where these commodities are being produced to support compliance. So what does this look like? It looks like we need boundaries for fields and for areas for site-specific production. We need to have unique geo-IDs for all of these things so that we can trace all the way back to the very field where a commodity was produced, the activities that are going on in that field. We need this, of course, tied to public geodata that can be used to assess the impacts or whether something is happening or not on that particular polygon or property. And we need that attached to public models that then can produce outputs that either dictate yes compliance or no non-compliance. And so we tried to put one of those public infrastructures together using as much open source information, as many open source platforms, as many open source tools as possible, so that the largest number of people can participate. So we have ways of generating field boundaries, whether it's generated from ground data where people are walking their boundaries and submitting that to the local assessor, I guess, or automatically generating them from remotely sensed data. We can tie that to unique geo-IDs. Again, this is tied to the AgStack program. We use and can access all sorts of public geodata from Google Earth Engine, and we put that into public models that are then used to produce output. Again, as much of this free and open as possible to encourage the participation from those who are critical to making the EUDR a success. At FAO, we've played our part in this by developing a suite of open source survey and geographic analysis tools. We call this the OpenForis suite. It was originally designed for forest inventory, but actually works for sort of any inventory and any geospatial processing you'd like to undertake. Again, these are all open source tools for data collection and analysis, and it's part of the open source solution for EUDR data requirements. You can go to the openforis.org and check those out. They're all available for download and use. We would like to, or we are in the process now that Carto has joined the Forest Data Partnership. Is very exciting for us because it brings the power of Carto to the Forest Data Partnership and probably makes possible now all of those wonderful things that Javier was showing earlier this morning. But basically, we can use the OpenForis. Like I'm the chief technical officer of the CEPL platform, which is a geospatial processing platform that anybody anywhere can use to do customized geospatial data processing. We can use that platform to generate field boundaries. We can then feed that into Carto. We can also use our are platforms for producing customized geospatial analyses at the plot level. So not only relying on public geodata, but being able to push back against public geodata with localized, more locally relevant analyses. We also have, and I think it was mentioned earlier, maybe in a slide earlier, this program called WISP, which is what is in the, we have brilliant acronymizers at, as part of the Forest Data Partnership. So what is in the plot? WISP, basically meaning that you take a plot, you take any GeoID, and then you look at what's there. Simple enough, right? So realizing, of course, that no single geospatial layer is going to be proof of compliance, but rather and again, mentioned this morning, this weight of evidence approach that let's throw everything we can at it, everything that's a vetted, a realistic data set to use for WISP, throw it there, and then, I guess it all becomes, except for like death and taxes, everything's sort of a probability in life. So this becomes like the probability that something is happening on a given plot, whether that's probability of something good or something bad happening. That's what we try to do with WISP. And it's, of course, available, so it's robust, robust, transparent, reproducible, and accessible by everybody. That's old now. So WISP is designed to be used at all three or multiple levels along that public infrastructure by the farmer to produce field boundary information, and to see whether to produce a convincing argument that they either are or are not compliant with EUDR regulations. It can be used at the cooperative level to analyze all of the data, all of the plots, let's say, within a given cooperative, and it can be used at even larger levels by government and third party for either compliance reviews or that sort of thing. Here's an example of how we can use OpenForis Ground, which is another ground data collection tool to get very plot level, to start generating plot level information for plots that are really, really difficult to assess otherwise. WISP is available on GitHub again, so everything is open and transparent, trying to make this available to as many people as possible. And then this is the final example. This is what it looks like when it all comes together, well, when most of it comes together. So this is an example of risk analysis for cocoa in Cameroon, where you have, we've run an analysis over 2,000, I think this is about 2,000 cocoa farms, agroforestry-based cocoa farms in Cameroon, one of the most difficult places to kind of analyze if you're a remote sensing person. But still, you can put these layers of information together, run it through a simple decision tree, and then come out with deforestation risk for all of those plots, individual plots within Cameroon. So in summary, the EUDR has a real chance to reduce deforestation globally, and so hopefully we can put our collective brains together and leverage the skill sets we all have to make that a reality. Smallholder participation is extremely important. I don't think the EUDR will succeed without smallholders being able to participate in this. So getting the data and the information tools to those people is key. I think everything sort of exists already to support the EUDR, and our task now is to make sure that it does. And of course, it will require the diligent application of those data and those tools from all of us here and beyond to make that a reality. So with that, I thank you very much for your attention, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the conference.